This will be a day long remembered. Now I am the master.
Welcome to another episode of Legends and Theories, and welcome to my review of The Bad Batch, Season 1, Episode 11, titled Devil's Deal, and of course there'll be spoilers, but let's go right in. And when first watching this, we see something that's pretty interesting. While watching, we learn ultimately that first, well, this really feels a lot like something in the Clone Wars, not really Bad Batch. In fact, the Bad Batch members have very little impact on this story, and the main team only briefly appears for essentially a cameo role. But personally, I was not affected by that. I feel like there'll be some people who'll be complaining that the Bad Batch weren't appearing in their own show, and this feels different than, like The Flash, when Barry just disappears for an episode, because here, this is setting up bigger themes and giving us, actually a good, interesting story that we care about. No offense to, I remember what, the Allegra episode. Yeah, I don't care. Not to take full offense to it. The episode was pointless, and, kind of nothing happened, and it led to nothing really. And it could have been saved for either another season or to, maybe never happened. But let's go back to Bad Batch. And this episode is fully taking place on Ryloth, and either a moon or asteroid above the planet, and we see the rebellion beginning to form, well, with another one of its more extremist members, which is interesting. It seems that the Bad Batch, instead of, meeting with really, the rebellion's, best back at this time, they're really meeting with what some would argue would be the worst, and the ones that, would give rebels a bad name, including both James Syndulla and Saw Gerrera, who were far more of an extremist and seen far more as terrorist, well, than the rebels did. Even if you do count the first Death Star, you can at least justify that as a defensive battle. Second Death Star, I, go on over all of this, but with both Saw and Cham, they would go for some of the most brutal and extreme attacks possible. And we go and mainly follow him and his family, his wife, and his daughter. His wife is likely going to die soon. And I did check, because I was getting her confused with another rebel fighter from Dark Lord of the Sith. And when watching it, I think, I went and I just checked because I thought that she was in Dark Lord of the Sith, and that's where she died, but I was wrong. I was thinking of the book wrong, and it's another fighter with him, and she dies early into the Empire's occupation, so I would not be surprised if we both see how Hera leaves her parents, possibly either temporarily joining the Bad Batch or asking them for a ride off the planet because she loses her mother and blames her father. Maybe something similar, but that's really what I'm thinking. But let's go back to, this episode's in order. And one of his close friends, who is seen as an uncle by Hera, but that's sometimes a thing. Uncles and maybe aunts, is usually is either a relative or could sometimes be just a very good friend of someone's parents that they're so close with they just call them uncle, and it's nothing really that it's just a thing that people do. So I'm guessing that could be it. I don't think they are directly related, but who knows, maybe they are. And while watching it, I was definitely liking it. I like it a lot more. I just think it was pretty interesting, and it was cool to get away from the Bad Batch for a week, see the galaxy as the whole, and we really just see how Aunt Frida, who is the senator from Ryloth, being corrupt and just really wanting everything to go in his favor, even wanting to get rid of Cham because he sees him as a threat to his power. And Aunt Frida has always been one of the more, selfish senators. I like hearing more about himself and, kind of just making sure he has everything he needs and not really fully caring about his people. He more cares about himself. I'm going to talk a little bit more about him at the end. But, his friend goes and is, just trying to keep Rayla safe. And Cham, for now, although we know he changes extremely, is trying to put faith in the Empire because he's done with fighting and wants to give a better life to his daughter. And his daughter, Hera, who has already found the droid Chopper, and Chopper is from Rebels, so is Hera and Caleb Doom, who's in episode 1, and that's, pretty interesting, but I'll talk about that in a minute also. They all go and are really preparing for their plans, and things are getting pretty extreme. As it continues, we see them going to get defensive because the Empire is making them turn in all their weapons, but they go and get illegal weapons off the Bad Batch. And, I think that the only reason they appeared is because I'm guessing the Omega actor probably also has in her contract that she has to appear in every episode, which is why, even in episodes of The Flash or other shows where they aren't the primary focus, they always appear in the episode because it's part of their contract, and that's the main reason. Another interesting part of this episode is Hauser, the clone, I believe, commander, might be a captain, I don't really remember, but it seems that he is not following the inhibitor chip anymore, although he's still loyal to the Empire, at least for now, because he's able to compassionately talk to Cham. And I think I have a prediction for that, one that's a little different than everyone else's. Most people think that the inhibitor chips are just dying down, but I'm guessing that they wanted to try to either convince Cham to, trust them by having one of the clones he trusted, instead of having him act robotic and like he was a different person. They decided to turn his inhibitor chip off, so he could likely, confront and comfort Cham into making what they would consider the right decision. Because we could definitely see him doubting and doing things to bend the rules. Stuff similar to that stuff Rex would do. Saying he wasn't going to report that Hera stole. Well, wasn't stole, she was hiding out and basically, spying. And I'm guessing that's probably the main reason. Other ones might be they noticed that the clone commander's effective is going down, like how effective they are. Can't think of the word there for a second. Sorry. And next guess is they turned off the inhibitor chips only really in the commanders. Another one is that his inhibitor chip isn't fully working. Or it could be that they have been turned off on all clones, or the effectiveness is starting to die down. Because as far as we know, the rest of the Bad Batch probably could have took place over the period of like a week or something. But who really knows? It could be any of them. I want to see the answer to that, which is probably one of the most intriguing parts of the episode. But if you want to know more about this episode, what I think about it, I think that it was really good. I really enjoyed it. It's probably not my favorite again. My favorite's probably the one with Cad Bane and Crosshair, getting burned and everything, followed by the premiere. This again is definitely up there. And really when every episode of the show has been, good to great, it's really hard to rank them. And really I don't say really like this episode. I cannot wait to see where it continues. Although it is kind of predictable. I'm guessing that Hera is going to find a way to contact the Bad Batch, and they're going to go to rescue Cham, likely as a job, and after they do that, they're going to be on their mission. Hera's mother's likely going to die, and she's likely going to run away, either sneak aboard the Bad Batch's shuttle, or get off the planet, because she doesn't really trust her father and blames him. Also, it seems likely that Hauser is going to turn on the Empire and either join the Bad Batch, or they'll send him off to Rex so he could help fight against the Empire. And I don't know if he'd be sent to Rex, because if he is, I'm guessing he would die. But it could be interesting to have another clone join the Bad Batch. And it might be a little harder for D. Bradley Baker. But from what I saw, there's an action figure of him with a different name that was revealed a few weeks ago, and people have been talking about it with this video, which says he might change his name, or maybe they had a different name for him, and it changed in between the concept stage when they showed it to the toy developers and now. But that's probably might be a mistake, might be a change. Also, according to other toys, Echo's supposed to get an actual hand, and not like Chronicopause or something, like a robotic hand. But we haven't really seen that yet, and that might be another mistake made on the toy, since it was both shown in the Lego with him having a normal hand, and I believe on a Hot Toy, and the Hot Toys are usually pretty accurate. I don't actually own one, but I know they're supposed to be, I think, a pretty accurate, statue for you to get, and that might be a small plot hole made. I may have thought about a mistake possibly made in the concept phase of the toys, and I'm not really sure about that. But with the rest of it, yeah, I think I'm really interested. I can't wait to see next week's episode. And of course, I'm pretty sure I know where it's going to go. Pretty sure that's going to end it up. Since that'd be episode 12, we have 16 episodes. And I'm guessing they're going to want a break before maybe a 2-3 episode arc finale. where they likely return to Kamino. I'm guessing that, just from my prediction of how the season will go, next week's will be like I explained, them going to free James Sedula and the wife dying and everything. The week after, which will be episode 13, will probably just be, a little more of a filler episode, or it could continue this Ryloth storyline. It could go either way, and I literally just realized this. This is pretty similar to Clone Wars Season 1, where towards the end of it, we had the Ryloth storyline, and if Cad Bane does return, that will almost be a direct parallel because it would be a Ryloth storyline right before the end, and then a Cad Bane storyline to finish it off. And that's a pretty interesting parallel that could follow it up. And Cad Bane will either capture Omega, or something will force them to go back to Kamino. In between then episodes 13 and 14. And episode 14 might be the start of a 3-part finale. I'm guessing it's going to be the 3 or 2-part finale, since it's supposed to be pretty emotional, according to, I believe, the composer and D. Bradley Baker. But I am not confident on that. But I'm guessing, a 2-3-part finale seems likely, where they go back to Kamino and try to save Crosshair. And yeah, I think it might be an interesting twist also if that the inhibitor ship was off on Crosshair now, and he was just loyal to the Empire. Also, I feel like we'll probably see Rex again. But I think those are my predictions. I think we're going to be seeing that. That's how the rest of the season will be set up. We'll have, the turning of the clone. We're going to be seeing a little more. We'll have the Ryloth arc probably finished next week. Especially if it's a 3-part finale. And then there's probably one episode to be like breather in between. But I wonder what you think. I am pretty interested and excited for The Bad Batch. It's definitely been my favorite show this year. I like it more than Loki and everything. Sounds that just love Star Wars, and this time period is probably the most interesting one. Really, that's what I think. Look out for my review of. Well, let's see. Next week I'm going to be going over. That's a quick video, but I think about Star Wars Visions. Then I'll be going over Black Widow on Tuesday, Assault on Arkham on Thursday. Wednesday will be Arrowverse and Loki's finale. And finally, on Friday, I think I'm going over my classic LEGO TIE Fighters that I own. So look out for all of that. And really, I'll just see you in the next episode of Legends and Theories. Thank you for watching this episode of Legends and Theories. Please like the video, leave some comments, subscribe to the channel, and share it with your friends. And may the Force be with you.